The village of Ravenwood was shrouded in secrecy. Nestled deep within the ancient woods, it was a place where time seemed to stand still. The cobblestone streets, the old creaky houses, and the towering trees all seemed to whisper tales of old. But the most enigmatic aspect of Ravenwood was the fog. Every night a thick fog rolled in. It was as if the village was being swallowed by a ghostly blanket. The fog would creep in slowly, almost deliberately, covering every nook and cranny. It was a sight both mesmerizing and terrifying. It swallowed the houses whole. One moment you could see the outline of a house, and the next it would vanish into the mist. The fog was relentless, consuming everything in its path. The fog was cold and damp. It clung to everything. The moisture would seep into the very bones of the villagers, making them shiver even in the warmth of their homes. It was a constant, unwelcome presence. The villagers were afraid of the fog. They would lock their doors and windows, drawing their curtains tight. The streets would empty, and an eerie silence would settle over Ravenwood. They whispered that it was alive. Some said it had a mind of its own, that it could think and feel. Others believed it was the spirit of the forest, watching over the village, protecting its secrets. They said it carried secrets, dark, ancient secrets that were better left undisturbed. Stories of lost souls and forgotten promises. Tales of love and betrayal, of hope and despair. Secrets that were better left buried. The fog was a guardian, a keeper of these secrets. It was both a protector and a warning. No one dared to go out in the fog, not after dark, not anymore. The villagers had learned their lesson. They knew that the fog was not to be trifled with. The fog was a warning. It whispered of danger. It was a reminder that some things are best left alone, that some mysteries are not meant to be solved. In Ravenwood, the fog was more than just a weather phenomenon. It was a living, breathing entity, a silent guardian of the village's deepest, darkest secrets. Legends whispered through the village. They floated on the evening breeze, carried from one ear to another, growing more elaborate with each retelling. The villagers spoke in hushed tones, their voices barely audible over the rustling leaves and the distant hoot of an owl. They spoke of a curse that had plagued their ancestors and continued to haunt them. It was said to be as old as the village itself, a dark shadow that loomed over their lives, casting a pall of fear and uncertainty. A curse that brought shadows to life. These shadows were not mere figments of imagination, but living entities that prowled the forest, waiting for the unwary. They moved with a sinister grace, blending seamlessly with the darkness, their presence felt but rarely seen. The elders told stories to frighten children. Around the crackling fire they wove tales of terror and caution, their faces illuminated by the flickering flames. The children listened with wide eyes, their imaginations running wild with images of the shadowy figures lurking just beyond the safety of their homes. They warned them to stay inside. The night was not a time for play, they said, but a time for vigilance. The shadows were always watching, always waiting for a chance to strike. The warmth of the hearth and the company of family were their only protection.
The shadows, they said, were hungry. They craved warmth. They yearned for light. They were drawn to the living, to the heat of their bodies and the glow of their spirits. To venture into the forest at night was to invite their insatiable hunger.
They would steal the life from anyone foolish enough to wander into the fog. The fog was their domain, a shroud that concealed their movements and amplified their whispers. It was said that those who entered the fog never returned, their souls consumed by the shadows. But some whispers were different. They spoke of hope, of a way to break the curse. These whispers were faint, almost drowned out by the louder voices of fear and despair, but they persisted, carried on the wind like a secret waiting to be discovered. They called out from the fog, they whispered names, they beckoned the curious. Those brave enough to follow the whispers might find the key to lifting the curse, to banishing the shadows once and for all. But it was a perilous journey, fraught with danger and uncertainty. Only the boldest dared to listen, to step into the unknown and face the darkness head-on.
Lily was new to Ravenwood. The small village, shrouded in a perpetual mist, seemed like a place out of a storybook. The fog gave it an air of mystery that both intrigued and unsettled her. She had just moved in with her aunt, a kind but enigmatic woman who had lived in Ravenwood her entire life. Her aunt's house was cosy, filled with the scent of old books and herbal tea. Lily wasn't afraid of the fog or the stories that came with it. Tales of ghostly apparitions and lost travelers were common, but they only fueled her curiosity. She was fascinated by them. Every evening she would sit by the fireplace reading old books about the legends of Ravenwood, her imagination running wild with possibilities. One night, unable to contain her curiosity any longer, Lily decided to see the fog for herself. She felt a strange pull, as if the mist was calling her name. She lit a lantern and snuck out of her aunt's house, careful not to make a sound. The night was eerily quiet, the only noise being the soft rustle of leaves in the breeze. The fog was thicker than she imagined, almost tangible. It wrapped around her like a cold, damp blanket, making it hard to see more than a few feet ahead. It was like walking into a wall. Every step felt heavy, as if the fog was trying to hold her back, but Lily was determined. Lily took a deep breath and stepped into the swirling mist. Her heart pounded with a mix of fear and excitement. What secrets did the fog hold? She was about to find out. As she ventured deeper, she thought she heard whispers, faint and distant. Were they just the wind or something more? The fog seemed to come alive around her, swirling and shifting. Suddenly, her foot hit something solid. She looked down to find an old mysterious object half buried in the ground. It looked ancient, covered in strange symbols. Lily picked it up, her fingers tracing the intricate designs. What was it? And why was it here in the middle of the fog? She felt a shiver run down her spine. Determined to uncover the truth, Lily set off further into the fog, the mysterious object clutched tightly in her hand. The adventure was just beginning. Lily wandered through the fog for what felt like hours. The whispers started subtly, then they grew louder. They seemed to be calling her name.
Lily, Lily!
A towering figure formed in the fog behind her. Its eyes glowed with an eerie light. Lily turned, her heart pounding.
Who's there?
She choked out, her voice trembling. The figure did not answer. It simply reached for her, its shadowy fingers closing in.